Americans are getting bent over. They're running out of money. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I am Mick Alphanine. Please subscribe if you like this content. So, as we saw before with the M2 Money historical charts, people's checking accounts, this is what the data says. Their checking accounts are running at an all-time low. Not everybody, but a good swath of the United States. Their savings accounts were at an all-time low. And then what do you know? We get confirmation of that. And yet they say the economy is doing oh so well. Yeah, we definitely better trust the governments. We definitely better listen to them. They tell the truth all the time. It says here, this is from newsweek.com, and it says what? They have to tell the truth because the people are broke. Not everybody, but a lot of people are. A drop in savings among Americans and a record amount of credit card debt could spell disaster for the country's economy should a recession hit. And this is why I was saying in all those other videos where they say, well, consumers are still spending lots of money. Everything's looking good. They must still have some money. And I'm saying to myself, and I've said in a lot of these videos, have they forgotten about credit? The people been waving their credit cards around like they just snuck into their parents' room while their parents were sleeping and went into their wallet and took a little card and just went to the mall and went on a spending spree like a 1990s, 1980s circa movie. But then can you really be upset with them? I mean, the Fed does the same thing. I mean, they removed the debt limit and just been going nuts, spending capital everywhere. Oh, yeah, but except on their own American citizens, by the way. Just you American citizens, you go over there, you get in a van and live there. You get in a tent and live there. Don't worry, but we'll just sprinkle money on the rest of the world and everything else and everybody else and everything else. Like we're Salt Bay sprinkling trillions of dollars down onto the world, but not you Americans, right? They're so, I mean, the Fed is so backward minded. Yeah, I'm going to stick it to the Fed. But that's the truth. They've been using credit. So that's why I ignore those points that they make when they're like, well, everything's healthy. Spending is still up. Yeah, the people have maxed out their credit cards now. What did they just say here? A record amount of credit card debt. So once the people have maxed out everything, then what? Where does the American economy go from here? Now, it's one thing to hold the Fed accountable. We definitely should. All of these central bank heads, we should. The Fed, the ECB, all of these entities. But at the same time, do the people of the United States make a change? Will they learn from this? Will they say, hey, we have to do something different? You know, that's the change really begins within them. If they want to live a little bit better and save what's left of their economy, you cannot leave it in the hands of these individuals who they're just so delusional that they can't even call a depression when they see one or a hard landing. Let's just say hard landing or harsh recession. That's what they've been saying, a harsh recession. They can't even be honest enough to call that. So we know you can't leave your fate in their hands, correct? That's how I look at it. I look at it as you have to take life by the collar yourself and make those changes. But this is what it says here. It says, record amount of credit card debt could spell disaster for the country's economy. You know, when someone like Newsweek has to say this, you know it's getting serious. Could spell disaster for the country's economy should a recession hit the U.S. Really, they're getting smashed with a depression level event right now. And maybe it's a light depression, but it's going to get much deeper. Oh, yeah. About those jobs. Well, there's so many. We're doing good with jobs. There's jobs everywhere, even though they're keeping up these job postings way longer than they should. I'm watching videos and reading articles about people calling these jobs. Most of these jobs don't even call them back. They don't even call them back. So the job market is way tighter than what it appears to be. Way tighter. Not only that, but if you're going to approve, right? This is what they just did. Look this up. If you're going to approve, what did they approve? 500,000 new people to work. There's a lot more competition out there for jobs now, isn't it? So let's just be realistic here. A lot of those jobs are like gig economy jobs. Those are there. Warehouse jobs, delivery driver jobs. So there's a lot of competition there at those levels. It's ferocious competition. So now you're authorizing like 500,000 new people to work in an economy where the Fed is already said. The Fed said themselves, hey, more people are going to have to lose their jobs. And you know that's what happens when they raise interest rates. You know that. Tsunami of bankruptcies has been happening. That's number one. A lot of these businesses have been closing. Then on top of that, the ones that can't get proper regulation or regulatory clarity have been taking their new businesses, new jobs overseas. So those job markets about to get tight, baby. So recession, you're out of your mind. No, these are depression level era that we're living through, in my humble opinion. My humble opinion, you can disagree with that. That's perfectly fine with me. But here's another thing that's going to just bust Americans, United States citizens, upside the head. That they think that they've seen something bad. They haven't seen anything yet. You ain't seen nothing yet, baby. Nothing. I'm sorry, I get that from the 90s. Remember they used to say stuff like that? You used to always put baby on the end. You didn't see anything yet, baby. Right? It always puts that emphasis on it. Let's get back to the articles. You got to be professional here, right? So now, this is from Forex Live. Oh, my word. If this happens, it says here, Brent oil could surge. Price could surge as high as $150. Oh, this is what JP Morgan is saying. Once again, when you get entities like this coming out and they have to tell the truth, you already know it's too late. You just know it's too late. They don't want to tell the people the truth typically, if their life depended on it, right? It says here, JP Morgan on the rising oil price. They say Brent could continue to $150 a barrel, citing OPEC plus cuts. We've been talking about that here, mainly led by Saudi Arabia, who, if the article I read recently is accurate, they said they're sticking to those cuts. So get ready. It says increased demand, shocks to capacity. By the way, I want to say this because they're like, well, there's new drilling going on in certain countries. Okay, are they really going to increase their new drilling, quote unquote, enough to offset what OPEC plus is doing? Then on top of that, do they take the chance to go against OPEC plus, knowing the deep ties that OPEC plus has with BRICS nations, because a lot of them are members of BRICS nations? Do they really want to set a fire to those relationships in order to help the West? See, that's things that I question, but we'll see in time. We'll see. It says shocks to capacity, a super cycle for energy, moves to reduce the globe's reliance on fossil fuels that'll have the tendency to promote a lack of investment in new oil production. It says that's definitely relevant. The JPM analyst forecasts Brent between $90 and $110 in 2023, then higher in 2025. So now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, everybody, let's get to the money.